So as you can see, they gave us some samples at the top here to look at and refer to, but whatever method you want to use to factor these, feel free to try any method that works for you. This first one, I see that we're trying to get a product of -5 and a sum of 4. What times what makes -5? So if we choose 5 and 1, and then we want the 4 to be positive, so it's 5 minus 1. So my factors are x plus 5, x minus 1. Next one has a 2, a coefficient of 2 in front. So in the top, it doesn't just go a product of 6, it goes a product of -12 and a sum of 1. You got it, that's a 3 and a 4, and so it's got to be 3 minus 4 to give us that -1 sum. Well, this x plus 3, x minus 4 are not sufficient factors. There's some additional work needed here to get the correct factors. We got a factor of 3 and -4, but let's see if these need to be reduced. So this first factor, 2x plus 3, does not need to be reduced. 3 can't go into 2. But notice the second factor, 2 goes into both 2 and 4. And that leaves us x minus 2 as a simplified factor. 2 goes in once, 2 goes in twice, and here are my simplified factors. If I'm not sure if I got the right factors, I now could FOIL this. First times first, okay, that's correct. Look at last times last. Okay, that's correct. This is what I wanted. All right, next one is a more simpler one again, with -12 here as the product and -1 as the sum. 3 and 4. This time I want that -1. My two factors are x plus 3, x minus 4. Here in the next one is a nice difference of perfect squares. If you notice what this factor, special type of factoring is, x plus 6 and x minus 6 are my two factors. If you didn't notice that it was a special kind of factoring, you could put the -36 here and a 0 in the bottom. So what times what makes 36 and subtracts to give us 0, 6 and -6. So on this next one, we are doing 3 and 5. There's a coefficient greater than 1 again. So we need to, when doing the x, 3 times 5, a product of 15 and a sum of 16. Well, what times what? I hope you thought of 1 and 15. But again, just the x plus 1, x plus 15 factors aren't enough. There's an additional step needed of writing out that 3x and reducing where needed. So let's see which factor needs to be reduced. This first factor, 3x plus 1, is already fine, but the second factor, 3 goes into 15 5 times. And so that reduces that second factor down to x plus 5. There they are. Let me know if you need help on that second part of this factoring if you're still confused after this worksheet. All right, same thing going on this one. Why don't you pause it and try it? We need a product of -12 and a sum of -11. What times what? And again, just the x minus 12, x plus 1 factors are not enough. There's some reducing that has to happen here. So we got -12 and we got +1. Well, this factor right here, 6x plus 1, is good. And then this factor over here can be reduced. 6 goes into 12 2 times. So it's the x minus 2, 6x plus 1 factors. All right, this one here just has an invisible 1 in the front. So what times what gives us a product of 56 and a sum of 15? You got it, 8 and 7. They both need to be negative to add up to -15. Next, we've got what times what makes 49. And by the way, you don't need the x if you see that this one is a perfect square trinomial. Yay. Coefficient greater than 1. What times what makes 24 and adds up to 11. This isn't enough because the coefficient's greater than 1. We need to reduce the factors. This second factor is actually fine, the 4x plus 3. And this first factor can be reduced. 4 goes into 8 2 times. X plus 2, 4x plus 3 are my factors. This one right here, what times what is a product of -48 and a sum of 8? Hopefully you got the 4 and the 12. This one takes a little bit longer if it's not your straight up 6 and 8, your usual one. So hopefully you're able to start getting some of these factors on your own. We want it to be 12 minus 4, so it gives us that sum of positive 8 in the bottom. This one has a coefficient of just 1, invisible 1 right here, so it's just x minus 4, x plus 12 are my factors. What times what makes 45 and adds up to negative 14? You got it, 9 and 5, and they both need to be negative. I think this was actually a test question on the last test. And then what times what makes negative 80 and adds up to 2? Hopefully you got the 8 and the 10. Needs to be 10 minus 8 in order to give us positive 2 in the middle. So this is the x minus 8, x plus 10. So why do some of these have this extra step, which we called the x and the t, the reducing here at the back? Well, that's when there is a coefficient greater than 1 here at the front of your quadratic. So notice we needed to do the extra work on number 9, number 6, number 5, and number 2. That's where the extra work was needed, the extra steps. Thank you. I hope you're starting to feel better about factoring.